All right. Well, hey everybody. To jump right in here, since we're 5 minutes here into the session. Good day, everybody. I know we've got some different time zones, so I don't want to be too specific about things. Thank you for joining this lightning talk hosted by Fabrik Labs and featuring Tariq Hussain of Tintash. If you don't know, I'm Brad Sukala. I'm owner of Fabrik Labs, and we help nonprofits, edtech firms, and growing businesses build software that works the way they do. Part of our model is partnering with experts in the particular technologies that we need on any one project, and Tintash is one of those partners. And Tariq from Tintash is a senior AI architect who's trained at MIT, and he's been working in AI since, honestly, since before it was cool, with a wide range of organizations from startups to major telecoms. So this session is really designed as a rapid fire one, with plenty of time at the end for your questions. So please jot them down as they come to you, as Tariq is presenting, and then we'll dive into those. So with that, let me hand it over to Tariq, and we can dive right in.
You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I think thank you, Brad, for the introduction. So 23 years ago, when I started my career as a software engineer, I was part of a team that was building a custom ERP solution for one of the largest uh, manufacturing plants or manufacturing groups in South Asia, right? The team was about 30 developers, and it took us about 18 months to finally deliver everything. And of course, 30 developers, 18 months, it means it cost a lot. And of course, I mean, they could afford that, right? Fast forward to 2026 now. This weekend, I am launching my AI powered application, which I built over the last couple of months uh, purely by myself and working mostly on the weekends in addition to my normal job, right? So, same person, same me, huge difference in what is possible, what a person can do. I mean, I would like to believe that it is because I'm now older and wiser, but I think all of you would agree that it is primarily because of AI. Right? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my talk on how leaders should use AI. I'm Tariq Hussain. Over the past 2 decades, I have been transitioning from a role which requires me to build solutions, then a role which requires me to build AI solutions, and then now a role which is building solutions using AI. So currently, I'm working as a senior AI architect as Tintash. Before this, I was head of AI and machine learning at one of the big telcos in the Asia Pacific region. And today, I'm excited about giving you my take on what AI can and cannot do now in 2026, April 2026. Okay. Let me start with um, switch. Okay. So let me just start with a quick demo of to just get you excited about and show you what AI can do. Right. So I will start with simple example where I will start with Brad. Just let me know if you can see the Excel file, right?
Yep. Yeah, we see your whole browser.
Ah, right? So I will start with an Excel file, dummy data. This is built for charity organization. It has donor data, as you can see. It has campaign data. It has data on volunteers, monthly summary, and geographic uh, collections, right? And I will show you how I can convert this to interactive dashboard with maps, all the different tabs, right? And if I were to show you how to do this 1 year ago, it would probably take, I think, a 1 hour workshop. Today, just now, I will show you exactly how I did this. Okay? So this is, I use Claude for this, the free version, right? And this is my exact history that I use, right? So let me just zoom in so it's easier to read. So I started with the data that I just showed you, the Excel file, and I simply said, attach the data. I want to create an interactive dashboard. Please read the data and suggest options for the dashboard. So I'm so lazy that I did not even tell it what I wanted. I said, oh, just give me an option for the dashboard. It went ahead and it said, oh, I can help you with that. This is the data that I see. But before I build the dashboard, can you answer these questions? And these are kind of intelligent questions which help decide what the dashboard would look like. So Claude asked me, what's the primary focus? I said comprehensive. What sections are most important? And then most importantly, what visual style fits your brand? And I said clean and professional. And it went ahead and said, oh, okay, thank you for the answers. Here you go. Right. And it generated this. And this probably take, I don't know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Right. And if I click on this, this is what it generated. Uh, Not bad for 3 minutes of work, but not exactly what I'm looking for. I mean, for me, this reads more like a report, which I would print on a color print and give to my CFO. It's not an interactive dashboard, right? So I went back and said, okay, can you please change it to a multi-tab interactive dashboard with drill-down capabilities, right? It went ahead, say, oh, okay, I can create this for you, and it created something for me, right? There were some gaps here, so I said, oh, for the geography tab, can you actually add a map, right? And for the map, can you just have each state colored by the amount collected? It went ahead, did something, and then there was this one final fine tuning, and it gave me the final map, right? Final dashboard. And this is the final dashboard, right? Um, Different tabs, right? Actual live, well, not live, actual data, different tabs, completely interactive. I can drill down, I can look into details of any uh, by state. I can see the entire data. If I go to campaigns, I can see which are the popular campaigns, what things are working, all within literally 10 minutes, under 10 minutes, right? From Excel file to interactive dashboard under 10 minutes. And because I use the free version, it cost me $0, right? So the question then is, and I'm sure most of you would have heard of what AI can do right now. And the next question that comes to mind is, okay, given there are so many AI tools, how do I decide what tool to use, right? This is one way I like to think of the different capabilities of the different tools. So along the x-axis, I have tools which are simple to use. You just open the browser, start typing. And then, of course, on the other side, we have tools which require some technical know-how, some setup, right? On the y-axis, I look at what is the output of the tool, right? So you would have some basic tools which are primarily giving you answers and insights, and then of course there are tools which will help you build and create things, right? And then this is, I would say, sample of tools. I mean, of course, it's not a complete list. I mean, if I was to draw the complete list, you won't be able to see the labels, but this is one view of what I think it could look like, right? And of course, uh, in reality, all of these are kind of fluid. People, tools are moving from one quadrant to the other. But here you have the chat, right? You just open the chat, ask it questions. These are more specific where um, uh, you can build slides, you can build quizzes, right? You can do research, you can build AI solution. You can build interactive UI, right? And then, of course, this is where lovable cursor, you can start building your own custom apps. As a general rule of thumb, I recommend people start on the left hand side. And in fact, I would go the other way around. I would say everyone in this meeting should be using at least one of these tools on the left hand side on a daily basis, right? So start with the left hand side, play around with these, use them for your daily work, and once you outgrow them, then start moving to the towards the right hand side, right? Building custom solutions, using custom integration. But on the left hand side, I would strongly recommend start using these today. Go back and start using them. So now, I mean, I've shown you what I can do with even these simple tools like Claude. So you can already guess what you can do with the tools in this quadrant, lovable cursor, right? So what does it mean? Does it mean IT is dead, right? So this is a shiny demo that I showed you, which took 10 minutes, right? And this is what AI can do for you. But let me give you the hard truth. Right? So yes, this is definitely what you can do with AI today. But what you cannot do with AI right now, and what you need to enable all of this is things like getting all your data into the right place, right? So that is where you have your CRM and your warehouse, right? So you need to have all of that
Sorry
data
to
in one
interrupt,
place.
Tariq.
Yeah.
I think you're on the wrong slide here. You like bounced
Oh,
back there for a second.
okay. So these are the things which you need to have, and these are the things which require some technical expertise. It could be your IT team. It could be, I mean, if you're tech savvy enough, you can do it yourself. But these are the things which the tools out there will not tell you that these are the things you need to do, right? You need to have all of your data into one place, collect them through the right forms, APIs, get it from the CRM. Then the most important part is you need to ensure that our data is up to date and it's accurate. And this is where your data pipelines, your databases, automated refreshes come into place, right? Then, of course, you need to, whenever you're working with customer data, privacy data, social security numbers, you need to ensure that, yes, those are not um, exposed through your application or through your dashboard or whatever you're building, your chatbot, right? And this is again where you need some technical expertise to um, still use AI, but at least ask the right questions and guide the AI the right way to ensure that you don't run into issues. And of course, the dashboard we already seen, and of course, how you safely share this with your stakeholders. How do you ensure that your the dashboard is not accessible by everyone, right? The dashboard that I showed you with Claude, there is a button there where you can just publish it and make it available. But that is if you have data which is, I mean, you can safely make public. Anything other than that, where you need to have fine-grained control, you need to have a technical team, your IT team to help you build that controls in place. Just wrapping up quickly, I think so. What does it mean? Does it mean I need a technical expertise and IT team, or does it mean I should do everything myself? An answer is it's neither that nor it is a combination of both, right? So start with the left, right? Use AI, all the tools that I showed you, and I mean new tools are coming every day. You do exploration, prototyping, build POCs. You want to generate one-off insights. You want to share with one person in your team. Ask your staff to do experiments and see how AI can help them improve their productivity. Build pilots, right? Proof of concepts. If you're not sure about whether AI can do it, go ahead, try it out. And most of the time, the answer would be yes, AI can do it, right? And once you're ready and you want to scale it up, right? You want to scale it up to customer data, personal data. You want to share it with board, and you don't want to ensure it's basically cached by your search engines. You want to scale beyond one person, and you have want to have fine grained controls. All you requirements around regulatory compliance. You need to then have IT expertise who will guide the AI to do the right thing, ask the right questions. Okay? Um, that's it for me. So I would open the floor for understanding what are your challenges.
Can I request you to turn off your slide share? I think there's something happening with it where it keeps going back.
No.
Thank you. And with that, Brad, over to you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks, Tariq. That was great. Good, quick overview of kind of the state of play with AI today in terms of app generation. So yeah, I mean, I would open it up to the floor here. Are there things that came up in Tariq's talk, or just have been top of mind for you um, on what's happening in terms of AI development and the tools and things like that. Yeah, Ali, I see your hand first. Please go for it.
Yeah, so I kind of became obsessed with with AI development a month ago, and after not having coded for years, actually, I guess I'm volunteering to do a talk for Manan and Simon next week on a very similar topic. But I think what I'm really curious about is in the build versus buy. It seems like we have kind of a new resurgence of something closer to self-modifying code that's happening, and that like Claude gives us a ridiculous amount of power in terms of, hey, instead of like try and figure out what the dashboard is, and have that perfect dashboard that you present, like dynamically changing it to what it needs to be, doing creative work alongside the non-creative, doing creative work alongside the analysis work. And I'm curious how people are balancing that in terms of technology, what tooling they're using, because that's a fundamental challenge that we want to uh, build the tooling that is there and stable, but also allows for creativity and improvement. And
Yeah,
pushing on
yeah,
one side of the balance, I'm concerned about slowing down the other side.
yeah. I mean, I think, and I guess, Ali, what I'm getting from what you were saying there is that there's sort of this tension between the ability to iterate so quickly and to bring these concepts to life, and with just minimal inputs, right? As Tariq showed, versus the question of, is that exactly what the problem needs to be
Yeah.
solved in the moment? Yeah. And I mean, that's one of these places where, when do you, as Tariq was saying, when do you need to bring in additional help for this? To answer that question, I think that's one of those times to bring in expertise. So yes, you can spin up a prototype super quickly, to just validate your ideas, but those ultimately are your ideas as an N of one, or maybe it's for you and your immediate coworkers. But once you start getting out into a larger audience of, either an external audience or your customers or internal users, you need to start, employing some of those traditional methods of audience analysis and design and iteration and things like that. Those still can go faster as well, but they still take time, and that's kind of, I think, when it makes sense to leverage a little more expertise.
Makes sense definitely. And I guess also I was thinking more along beyond that in terms of where is the balance? Like because you want to have that full creativity, like you want to have that full creativity once you orient yourself and get to repeat on that. But without that orientation, you're kind of unless you do that orientation, you're kind of starting from scratch every time.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Tariq, do you have thoughts there in terms of finding that?
I think it's a how should I put it? It's something where each individual, based on your expertise and based on your needs, needs to define the line, right? So if I'm using AI 100%, so very, um, if I'm not a designer, then something like this makes it very easy for me to build something which is, I'm not saying it's production ready, but I can build something very quickly. But if I'm a designer, of course, I'm sure a designer would find a lot of issues with this, right? So it depends on where you want to focus on, where you want to push AI to the limits, and where you want to be, where you're just happy with the results. And of course, for each individual, which area, it would vary from individual to individual.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Tariq. Sarah, I see your hand up there.
Yeah, thank you. So first, I wanted to thank you very much for the slide, the 5 layers slide with kind of the end-to-end conversation, because I think it's super helpful. I think one of the problems I'm seeing out there that I'm having so often is like, it's always been a problem when you build a prototype to explain to stakeholders that it's not production ready. And I feel like AI has exacerbated that because everything looks production ready now and it can look so neat and clean. So having the language to explain to stakeholders of like why you want to spend money here versus spend money here, or what production ready I think is a difficult one. And I think the question about who the decision makers are and how, like, who should own when, that actually is something that I think is a challenge. And so wondered how you would kind of help advise. How do you streamline some of these decisions, and how should we be talking about the some decisions, and who should be that main decision maker is when we move from an internal or a prototype into something that's production ready?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this, the one phrase or idea that I keep coming back to in all of these conversations about AI development is that it's accelerating our ability to deliver um, based on what we were able to do before, but it isn't shortcutting any of the steps along the way. And I think your question, Sarah, like speaks to things that we've done for years now, which is sort of this idea of co-design, of having everybody, all the key players as a part of the process from the beginning, so that they understand what our goals are, the steps that we're going through, the decisions that need to be made along the way, and that they feel a degree of ownership in that process, so that when you are initially establishing what are the goals and objectives of this engagement, they're being a part of that, and then they can see that, well, okay, we're spinning up these prototypes really rapidly, and we're trying out these different approaches, and they understand that these are prototypes, and even though they look great and they function really well, they're tests, and that we're not ready to go to production with those things quite yet. Maybe they're going to inform the next phase forward. And so just having that sort of roadmap view for everybody along the way of, hey, here's this phase of work. The objective of this is X or Y. That's going to enable the next phase. And the the best part of all of this is that it enables us to get so much faster to better decisions, so that we'll have much more confidence when we do launch that the thing that we're launching is going to solve the problem at hand, and give those stakeholders a lot more comfort in pushing to production when it's time. Did I answer your question there, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's still like, I think there's a growth period that I feel like we're in, where it's just like there's almost this Wizard of Oz thing going on a little bit more, and to have to ground people back into this. So I like what you're saying about making sure everyone's part of every step of the way, that they understand the goal of this piece. I think that is definitely a key. So yes.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Manan, yes.
Manan,
Sarah, to your point, I think you've highlighted something that's really complex, and we're very much in the very early days of with AI. And so here's what I recalled. I attended there's this guy called Bill Morgridge, I believe. He's one of the founders of IDEO, and he was giving a talk at IDEO, and we were nearby, so we'd gone in for the talk as students at Stanford. And this guy was really upset. He's like, and he was talking to his team, he's like, if you bring me polished, good-looking prototypes, I'm going to tear them up, and you'd better look like a prototype. And so I feel like with AI, and so as you were talking, I'm thinking perhaps we do need the terminology, right? So maybe we do need to say, hey, this is a shiny prototype. It's non-functional. And I was thinking maybe we can throw a watermark on the shiny prototype. Because Brad, it's very easy to forget that this is really just look and feel. And to what Tariq said, there's a lot of depth and hard work in engineering, and that's trained engineering and thinking that goes into this. And just relating to this, like yesterday, a customer asked me how much of the code that you guys write at Tintash is AI generated, and the answer is 99% plus. So he's like, oh, why do we need engineers then? And the answer is because the visual part of the output that you see is not the total output. And so, Sarah, I think we're going to struggle with this for a while. Like people, so I was just owning that, Brad, that And perhaps what she said initially was, what is the terminology, what are the words we can use to sort of highlight that, hey, this is just to align us on one page that this is what it's going to look like and look and feel like, to get validation from various stakeholders, as you were saying. So I'm challenged, like the more senior the people are, the more they'll feel like, oh, this is done. And the expert will be like, no, 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 the security isn't taken care of. Everyone's input is not in there. So just saying, I think it's going to be a challenge for a while. And with that, sorry, Brad.
The one of the that's a cool story, by the way. It's I mean, to be in that IDEO talk, that's great. Yeah, the one thing, the one analogy I've used in the past, and I hadn't thought about it as being relevant to this now, but I would always talk about the difference between a model home versus a concept car. And that, a model home it's built, it's ready to go. I mean, if you want to buy the model, that's great, but it's sort of showing you like all the potential things that could be in there. Versus a concept car is this like shiny demo that's not going to go to production and is never meant to. I mean, maybe it can drive on the road, but it's never really meant to be out there. It's just like where we could go with this. And I feel like these real quick prototypes are more of the concept car idea, maybe with a little less flash, but it's, yeah, you can open the door and turn the lights on. Maybe you can even start the engine, but like it's not production
If you
ready.
turn the tap on, no water coming out from there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
So
right.
I think that's a good one. So a concept home,
Yeah,
concept kitchen or something.
exactly.
And then Tariq, one question I had was that one key concept is what do you build versus what do you buy? So are there any, let's say, particular rules that you would advise when it comes to making a decision where somebody decides that, okay, this is something you can build, but here is something that you probably shouldn't try building. You should rather just go out there and buy something that's, let's say, a bit more reliable, tested, off the shelf.
I think um uh, I think Satya Nadella said that the age of SaaS is dead, right? So now you don't need to rely on a generic enough SaaS product where you have to customize to fit your needs. Now with AI and the power it gives you, you can build your own. So I would say people would be moving away from SaaS and more towards building their own, right? The counter to that would be the way I see it, right? Amazon, Google, Microsoft. So they are already building solutions based on the common patterns. They are already building solutions for search, for customer care, and that is something where I would say yes. If we have a solution, then it would not make sense to build it, right? So in most cases, again, custom build I think is very practical now. But then yes, if it's a complex AI product that you're trying to build, then it might make sense to have, to buy it rather, right? So general products probably build, AI products better to buy.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if you want to have an accounting software, probably better to go with QuickBooks or something that's already in the market and something that's proven rather than trying to build your own, because then you can get your
Right.
accounting books.
Fair.
Yeah. It's a little bit of, yeah, if you build it, you own it for good and bad. And so, when you're paying that monthly fee to Intuit or anyone else, I mean, you're getting maintenance, you're getting support, you're getting product managers who are adding new features over time. So, you just, yeah, be careful what you wish for when you build your own software, because then you're taking on all of those things. But sometimes that equation makes sense.
So I'm gonna disagree to some extent, and that's kind of coming from my own experience, because we've had this love-hate relationship with HubSpot for like more than a decade, and in my previous company, we were paying upwards of like $70,000 a year to HubSpot, where uh, there was a confusion in the packaging. They told us we'd have something, and then we didn't, and they put in a built on HubSpot badge on our production website. I was so pissed that within the next 24 hours, I had actually migrated off HubSpot, and I am very happy to do that. The thing is that HubSpot presented this vision of, oh, you can have all of your data in one place, and you can manage things from there. I think that's actually a key difference in what is happening. The value of the data, the value of creating new data, retailing data, that is there. The value of integrating and organizing data, anything that a SaaS provider will do is going to be based on what they see as the most common use case. And your only option is really to try to fit in. And we never got HubSpot to behave the way we wanted to. We always just blamed ourselves and that, okay, when we'll have time, we'll figure out how to integrate this and how to integrate this. Um, we had our bulk of our data in Airtable. We were able to use that a lot more effectively, and we were running our company on Airtable. But just that one over 24 hours, now with that capability of building, we know exactly what kind of integrations we want to build, where we would get that data, how we would, if we don't have the data, how we would collect that data, and what is important to us. And I think uh, that change where integration is almost free is changing. And so you had the example of QuickBooks. I think QuickBooks is integrations and rule engine. I think that one is the one that you should would be in danger. Google is retailing a large amount of data from their crawling and everything that they understand about search. I think that's going to be saying OpenAI, ChatGPT, all of these people are retailing their data and their crawls and the work that they've done. So I think those people with their finesse is going to change, but where the mass of the value is coming out of integration, those we're going to find that it's going to seem like, hey, let's just do this is not use playing by somebody else's rule game is not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think if you can run that equation, of the value that you want to get out of the level of control that you were looking for, Ali, against, what you're paying at HubSpot. I mean, it just made sense in that scenario. And it's great because that's the option you have now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean, yeah.
Yeah, I think I always anchor back to that principle of evaluation of build versus buy through the lens of, is it part of our core business? Meaning, if you're a bank, you're probably not going to, build your own CRM because it's not part of your core business. You're not actually making money off of having a very easy to manage or even kind of hand rolled or self-built CRM system for all of your client accounts, whether they be business accounts or consumer accounts. But they will spend a ton of money in monitoring, governance, automation, agentic workflows for their core business processing. And that's what we're seeing now in the enterprise is this peeling off of what was traditionally on mainframe backend reconciliation servers to more agentic workflows that you can manage and adjust based on market conditions or that sort of thing. So you see this almost like cracking of the core of how a business runs, whether it be a bank or manufacturing company or whatever the case may be, and starting to peel off functionality and putting it in the hands of the business. But because it's so important to them, those workflows are so important to them, and that's where you have interactions with clients or interactions with vendors, or you're doing accounting or billing, that sort of thing. Then it makes sense to sort of wrap it with agentic workflows that can be more responsive. But the core systems, like most big enterprises, are like, we would much rather pay the support cost to a big vendor for these systems, at least for a little while longer, because it's really not part of our core. If we find that we can, do it better ourselves and actually make it part of our core, business engine or value proposition, then yeah, they'll do it. But for the most part, these folks are like, it's a line item. It's like an operational expense for them. They just basically say there's 5,000 seats on HubSpot or Salesforce or what have you. We're fine paying that because it's not what we do. We're not a CRM company, right? So I think that like big enterprises are always going to weigh that out, because like you said, Brad, if you build it, you own it, and you're going to have to carve out headcount and resources and time and budget from a completely separate bucket to manage that custom code base. But wrapping those systems, those core operational systems in like real agentic workflows, I think that's where the enterprises are really starting to unlock some value, at least what we're seeing, which is cool. I think that's kind of the future and the path forward.
Yeah, yeah, it's super interesting. And I mean, yeah, and based on where you are scale wise, I mean that can flip entirely or,
Right.
but it's so interesting because we're using the same technologies and the same tools, whether you're at the enterprise level or you're, a 10 person, nonprofit just, trying to figure out how to make the most of the funding that you have.
Right.
It's a super, super interesting time. Um, so I know we I think sort of frame this as a 40 or so minute talk here. I don't know if there's like final questions here that we could
I
cover. I see
did,
Ali.
I did have one small follow-up to
Yes.
Sean. I guess the question was that, I mean, businesses are supposed to allocate money to solve, they allocate money to find solutions to problems, right? But that's not exactly how it works. It works in this is the money allocation towards infrastructure, this is the money allocation towards software, this is the money allocation towards contract labor, this is the money allocation towards full-time employee. And I'm wondering if businesses will kind of have to, if small businesses, flipping that equation is trivial, but will enterprises have to change? Well, I hopefully they will change their mind, but what kind of time frame do they like? What are we expecting that change to look like for large enterprises?
Yeah. There's a great book called Reshuffle, that speaks exactly to that. And it is think about the processes that you follow and can you extract out jobs to be done or tasks in such a way that the systems in which they used to live no longer become the sort of tension point. It's more about like how can we reconfigure the way we do work as a business, which then I think the downstream effect to your point is how do we budget for that? Because it's the line items are going to shift. It's no longer putting a bunch of money into Mark Benioff's hands, right? From a Salesforce perspective, we're actually extracting the value of the workflow out and owning that ourselves because that's the core to our work, and that's going to fall into a different bucket. Yeah.
Sean, but
Um,
just want to pick your brains there. When I think of a business, and I actually have this concern with many business owners, and a lot of us here are doing that. You either need tools to quickly grow your top line or deliver what you're doing, and I guess maybe it's a leadership style, but you optimize later, right? So you try and save costs later.
right.
Whereas I think we're now getting disrupted again, generally from AI. And perhaps the cost saving part is going to get pushed further down the line. And perhaps all of these tools are going to say, hey, we're just going to throw an AI layer on top. My Whoop has a chat layer on top, which I can interact with. So I'm not reading graphs any longer. So what I would imagine, Ali, is that HubSpot they're not going to sit with all the profits they're making and not do anything, right? So they're probably going to say, hey, here's the core product and go ahead and customize it any which way you like. Because at the end of the day, it's in our interest to grow. And like the transformation part of it, getting
Right.
humans to change how they're doing things, that's just scary. So theoretically, it sounds great. When we talk to one of the larger PE-backed companies and we're trying to force it or create a change for what one of their leaders thinks about, we talk to the next 16 people, it's like, oh my God, everyone is on a different page. And so that's enough of a nightmare too, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, just thought I'd throw that in because we were all going in one direction and it's nice to just be the devil's advocate here. So it
Yeah.
may not be doom and gloom for SaaS.
Yeah. They're not going away anytime soon.
No, no. I mean, that's the other piece. It's like all of us on this call, I mean, even if you haven't used these tools yet, we're all still really at the early edge of thinking about these things and implementing them. And I mean, and that will continue to move forward at a very rapid pace, I think, but there is still a very large swath of the business and consumer public that are yet to engage with these things or think about how they impact their business, and it's going to be a long process to integrate that into the economy. So there's a lot to figure out still.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody for being here. I think this is a great conversation. Tariq, thank you for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us. Yeah, we'll keep you posted if we have future talks along these same lines, and hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you so much,
I am
Brad
very
and Tariq, for hosting
Thank
this.
you,
Thank
guys.
you,
Thank
everyone.
you,
Thank you
everybody.
very much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.